Okay, let's get our guest on who's been sitting there, listening, waiting patiently. This is a pleasure because I first met this individual, I don't know the exact date, 2015, maybe before. And he was still in school at the time. And at the time, I was working with him and his dad, and he's come on to do amazing things. I'm so interested to find out how that journey sort of unraveled and unfolded over the past years. Please welcome Luke Morton into the studio. Good morning, Luke.
Morning, David. Morning, Nick. How are you?
Wow, really? Very, very well. Yeah.
Blooming marvellous, Luke. A cup of tea, bottle of water. The world is looking good, my friend.
Cup of coffee.
Great.
Luke,
thank you.
No, absolute pleasure for joining us here. Obviously, we've been talking about tea with May King and obviously FOMO and stuff like that. But you come from another kind of, beverage area as well. And we'll talk more about that business. But juicing with Luke is kind of what it's all about. But tell us a little bit about your journey, Luke. Because I say we met, and I'm trying to guess it was about 2015, 16 with James Whale when we were running an event, and you won an award that day, which we'll talk about in a minute. Nick, another award-winning, one of his first awards for speaking, and he's gone on to achieve so much more. But yeah, tell us a little bit about your journey, Luke, and how it started to where you are now as well.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I do a lot of things, really. I'm a broadcaster, a speaker, a semi-professional goalkeeper at Tilbury Football Club, and then also more recently a business owner under Juicing. So a lot of things, but my speaking journey started with yourself, obviously, and that really kick-started everything for me. And I realised how important it was to be able to be a speaker in anything. In everything I do, it's proved so important. So winning that award for me was really the thing that got me the confidence, it got me the know-how, and I think something you said back in the course back then, it was like, always go first. And I just remember, like, when I've had a presentation, when I've had whatever, I've just always had that mentality, and it served me so well because I'd always be that person in school who would not put their hand up or go last, and I just realised that it's so important just to put yourself on the line and go for things. So whether that's been in my broadcasting when I went to university, at Wembley Stadium, doing talks there, whether it's in the dressing room in football, like speaking up first, whatever, it served me so well. So it's amazing how, mentors and starting young can really serve you well going into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've had an amazing journey because I followed lots of it kind of through your social feeds. You did, obviously, with your university, you kind of joined football and interviewing together. You went off to, was it LA you went to or somewhere like that, over into the States?
Atlanta. Yeah.
Atlanta. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so essentially it was my final dissertation project, and the beauty of my course was you could do a documentary instead of like a 10,000 word essay. So I got the idea of interviewing an ex-West Ham footballer called Jack Collison, and essentially once I'd worked out the logistics, I went out there for just under 10 days just before everything kicked off with the pandemic, and managed to film him behind the scenes, coaching the players, interviewing him at his house. And it was a really successful documentary. I won an award for it as well. And it was just a really good experience to go to the States. It's my favourite country, and just to see the MLS and the football out there and find out, what it's like to be out there, what it's like to play football out there. And it was just so good for me as a person, to be interviewing a person I used to watch growing up. Very testing. There was like some challenging times, and it really showed me what I could do. But in the end, it was worth it. And I'm sure I can put a link somewhere. It's on my YouTube channel. It's only like a short documentary, but it was really one of the best things I've ever done, really.
An award-winning documentary. Luke, I'm sitting here, I'm just flabbergasted. You rattled off a list of stuff that you do, and I'm looking at you thinking, to me, you look like quite a young fella, right? And you were at university not long ago. How are you cramming all this in and achieving all this stuff? I hear go first is right, but oh my God, you're going first on turbo.
Definitely, it can be tough at times doing many things, and you kind of have to be careful not to be like a jack of all trades. But I try to give my best to everything, and doing university took a lot of time up. So now I'll be able to do my own business and give more time to the football as well, because they're two things I've always wanted to do. So yeah, it's all good though.
And you're
So
pretty good.
what is the business? Let's talk the business side first, and then I want to know what skills you need to be a great goalie and how that equates to business. So what's the business first of all?
Yeah, so essentially I run a business called Juicing with Luke. Couldn't think of a better name, so I kept it original because I didn't want to focus on the things that didn't matter. I just wanted to get on with the business. Essentially, I did one-to-one consultations and workshops talking about juicing. And then essentially I realized that people really, they just want the juices themselves, or they want the nutrition given to them. They do want to know about it, but they'd rather just have it given to them. They can buy it. So in lockdown, I was doing an Instagram live video making just little energy balls. And it was my dad actually who said, you should sell these. And I thought to myself, well, actually, I always thought about selling like little energy balls, little shots and juices. As you see behind me, I've got a couple of juices here. I make them for myself. I always put it off, but because I had all this time in lockdown, I thought, why not give it a go? Why not start up, a small little business, do it properly, set it up as a proper limited company and see where it takes me. So essentially right now I'm making products called the Super Shots, which are ginger shots, beetroot shots and wheatgrass shots. And they're the key product I'm focusing on. But essentially, I try to balance nutrition and taste, because a lot of companies focus on the nutrition and it tastes disgusting, and then people buy once and never come back again. And then other companies, they're high in sugar, they're not good for you, high in additives. So I'm trying to balance the two. Everything's freshly made, everything's cold pressed. So the goal is to, keep it going, not overcomplicate things, but see if I can maybe take it bigger, but one step at a time, trying to also take football as far as I can go as well. So, but I've learned so much really, and I've tried to always remind myself it's not about the money you're making as much in the early days. It's more about the lessons you're learning and the person you're becoming. Because if I was focused on the money I was earning in the first few days, I'd be a bit dejected and I'd feel a bit like, what's the point? But if I was focused on the people who are benefiting from this and all the life lessons I'm learning, then it's worth the ride.
Yeah, it's not all about the money. You've got to have fun. You've got to be courageous. They're your words, Nick, aren't they? Fun, courageous. If it doesn't have them two in the brief, then forget about it. That's Nick's way of working. Couldn't agree more. We are in a brave new world as well. I'm going to coin that from somebody else who we know very well, who used it on one of our earlier shows. But I love what you do, Luke, is that when you're making your juices, but you're sharing with the world that, do you know what, you could do this yourself. This is what you need. This is how you do it. You've got a great YouTube channel. You put everything out there on the social media platforms for all to view and all to see. And I think that's an amazing thing to do, because, you're building a rapport, a relationship, or sharing with people who want to know. And of course, they do become customers, as you say, actually, they don't want to do it themselves. They don't know how to do it. But hey, I want to order it from Luke. I want someone that's going to do it for me. And that's kind of how your journey's unfolded a little bit, isn't it? It's kind of gone from sharing, showing people how to do it, to now making them and providing them and delivering them.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. And essentially the mindset is so key, because essentially to make juices are simple, really. And that's what I started to gather. And it's actually not the how to do it is the most important thing. It's the why you're doing it. And if people know why they should be juicing or why they should be having better nutrition, then they'll do it for the rest of their life. It'll be a lifestyle. That's one of the things I advocate. If you do it once in a while, you have a juice every so often, or you eat healthy every so often, then you're only going to get so much. But if you're consistent, like anything, then you'll see the rewards and you'll turn your life around.
Yeah.
There has been a theme of the show. A lot of conversations have hinged around nutrition and fitness, being the answer to many of our current certainly mental health issues, our physical issues, great nutrition, and I'm a big kind of believer in the gut being the second brain. Right? There's a lot of research going on, a lot of research already taken place that what you eat makes a massive difference to how you think. Right? The two are linked, and I imagine from your client's point of view, they'll see the massive benefits. Not just I feel better, but I think better too.
100%. Yeah. I mean, so many people talk about, they say, oh, it's all about exercise, or it's all about nutrition, and they say it's 80% exercise, 20% nutrition, whatever, and different numbers. And some people say it's all about mindset and psychology and motivation. But I've learned it's about everything, and it's, everything affects everything else. So if one thing's not working, then everything else is affected. So 100%. I went on a 7-day juice reset, just essentially having juices and blends all day long, no food. And it's amazing how what you feed your body also affects your mind, and what you feed your mind, watching the news or whether you read a good book is going to affect your mind as well. So everything's important. And, if you're eating well, your mind's going to be sharp. You're not going to, you're going to be thinking clearly, you're going to be thinking sharp. So it affects everything. So nutrition is key, but so is exercise, so is psychology as well. It's all important.
Was that your trip to Portugal that you went on? Okay, good. That's perfect entry point. I have a video. Let's share it and show you in action doing one of your excellent broadcasts.
So here is my quick tour of Juicy Oasis here in Portugal, a 7-day stay for a mind and body experience where you're experiencing not only the finest quality nutrition, 7 days on juices and blends, but also the best exercise, the best structure, and the best scenery as well. I wanted to do this video just for those people who are out there who have come across the retreat, or they've just come across it recently, but they weren't sure and they needed something to tip them over the edge. So I wanted to do this quick tour of the whole place, just to give you a quick insight. So the first thing I want to say is when you get here, you'll be dropped outside the front here in your transfer.
Obviously, go and watch the whole video on your YouTube channel. Some really great content on there, not just this video, but lots of others you've put together. But what was that? You touched on it, but it looks amazing. I mean, the scenery just looks, I bet there's people sitting there now going, I haven't been on holiday for 2 years, and you put that on the screen, teasing me. But what was it like? Was it a complete detox and juice, and that was it for the week?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, getting there in the first place was a miracle as well, because it was last year when traveling wasn't happening, and literally the red list, it was lifted the day before I was meant to be going, so I wasn't actually going to go because I couldn't. And it was a miracle. And I've been wanting to go there for 4 or 5 years since I first came across this guy called Jason Val, the Juice Master. And he was actually there as well, so I think he was kind of wanting to calm people down because people were still a bit uncertain. But it was the first time where I went somewhere where you didn't have to wear masks and things like that. So it was just like an escape in every way. But to go 7 days on juices, I've never done that before, but it just showed you that, how much that what we eat, doesn't really feed us, and how much these juices are feeding you on like a cellular level. So you're actually getting everything you need. And something I learned is that most people are overfed and undernourished. So they're eating a lot of the bad stuff. They're not actually getting the right things they need. So that's why you'd have these juices and not feel hungry. So it was really good. And I came back in probably the best physical state of my life, feeling great. Just, couldn't have been better, really.
I'm looking at my hotel room window in Birmingham. And trust me, it looks nothing like Portugal. For those people out there that are dying to go on holiday, and the October half term is possibly an option for people, what a treat that must have been, mate. I just you can see the joy on your face, and this is probably before you've had the amazing juices. Just to kind of a new space, just to think clearly. It looked amazing. On top of some fantastic nutrition on the back of it.
100%. I mean, you were getting everything. Excellent. And like every so often they'd give you like a treat as well, like all natural, but it'd be like it wasn't frozen yogurt, but it was like natural treats, like made from, it was like frozen sorbet, frozen mango, and you just get that every so often just to tie you over. But it was probably the best thing I've ever done in terms of nutrition and experience, really.
Did they do alcoholic treats, by the way? Because when I go on holiday, I want to sit by a pool and have a glass of pina colada or
There were
something.
one or two people try to escape the retreat.
That would be me, and I'd be gone on the first night.
A little village.
I don't think it was that kind of holiday, mate.
No,
I don't think it was that kind of do.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. And of course, we can go onto your YouTube channel, but you do have a website. Let's get your plug in there, which is mortonpersonalfitness.co.uk/juicing, because you're part of, and it's probably worth just mentioning here, part of the family business, which is a fitness club and gym, isn't it? Do you want to just touch on that and just share a little bit more about what you get up to there as well?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot to owe to my dad and being brought up with health and fitness, and he was even the one that took me to the seminar that got me into the juicing. But essentially, I also do some work at what is a personal training club here in Essex and based in Hutton. And essentially, it's small group personal training. So people will come in, they won't be left by themselves, and they'll be guided on how to use the machines and what to do, and they'll be motivated. So you don't have to turn up and do your own thing. You're actually being directed and you get results because of that. So to help him on the admin side of things, social media, learning business ideas from him has been key to my own business as well. So it's obviously it's been, like most people and like most things, it's been hit hard by the pandemic, and the last year's been tough, but it's still there and it's still going, and it's a case of growing it. And I do a lot of work with my dad, so it's really good.
Just out of interest, do you help your dad make his videos?
Yeah,
I know it's your dad. He's got to have your influence on it.
It's always got a question.
We'll get your dad on here actually, because obviously a great guy.
Yeah.
We'll have a chat about that fitness world as well. But yeah, so I know you're only quite young in the respect of starting out in business, but you've had a great, a leapfrog, to getting your business running during tough times. But I always do ask our guests to share with our audience a top tip, maybe something you've learned on your journey. It could be anything. It could be about juicing. It could be about the business world. What top tip would you like to share with our listeners and viewers tonight?
I mean, I'm a massive Tony Robbins fan, and I think a massive lesson I learned from him during lockdown, actually, it served me well with the business. Essentially, keep things simple. He says a quote which is, complexity is the enemy of execution. So the more complex you make something, the less likely you are to do something. So when I started the business, I started making the balls, then I made the shots, then I got onto the juices and the smoothies, and I did this quite quickly within a matter of weeks. And what I found was I was actually focusing on the products too much, not focusing on the customers and listening to what they want, and maybe doing better marketing and doing a bit more content, because I was just focused on new products and not making the current products the best they could be. So my best piece of advice to date is keep things simple. Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be, because sometimes we make it complicated because we want to feel good about ourselves, or we want to make progress, but really we're kidding ourselves. Keep things simple, and that's my goal now, to make the super shots the best that they can be, whether that's the packaging, whether that's the marketing of it, the taste of it, as opposed to spreading myself thin and doing loads of different products.
I'm loving the fact that the future's about super shots, and on the you're a goalie, there must be from a mindset perspective, there must be stuff that you learn in goal, facing down the next striker, that you then use in business.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? What's that connection? What's that connection?
Yeah.
Mental toughness. No?
I always look at everything I do and I think to myself, actually, there's so many transferable skills, whether it's doing football and then coming to business. It can be anything from someone who's, not happy with something as a customer and you have to deal with it, or it's you have a week where you've not got as many orders as you like. It's no different to like letting a goal in, or you made a mistake. And I honestly look back at the last 10 years, whether it's been my football or my university or school, and I just realised that all these experiences have served me so well. So yes, I do a lot of things, but the more experiences I stack up, they seem hard at the time, they seem negative, but once I get through them, I couldn't do what I was doing in business if I hadn't have done that in football. So that's why I keep the football going. Even if I don't end up making it as like a top professional goalkeeper, I just see it as, it's making me a better person and it helps my business. So it's worth it in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the other things I would take, my son plays a lot of football, a bit like you, at a semi-professional level for a small localized club. And one of the things I see from it is leadership as well. Certainly being from a goalkeeper, because you're there, you can see all the action. You're kind of at the top of the field in that respect. You can see all the action, and there's a lot of leadership, isn't there? Communication. One of Nick's favourite things, communicating with all your team and probably the other team as well in various different languages. But sports, business, they are so closely linked. So closely linked.
Yeah. It's the hardest position on the pitch, I believe. And, but when you put yourself in that position, to run a business and not to be an employee, whatever, it takes a certain level of leadership and guts, whatever. So definitely, doing them both serve me well.
Yeah, absolutely. Luke Morton, Juicing with Luke. I'm sure we're going to see you on more screens, delivering more presentations, creating more great content on social media. Thank you very much for joining us on the show today. It's been a pleasure to have you. When we get out into the real world, Nick and I, we're venturing out. We'll have to come down and you can make us some juices and we can do a tasting test with you as well.
100%.
Brilliant, Luke. We'll pop you backstage. Thank you very much. We'll catch you very soon. Well, Nick, it's that time again. A few minutes to the hour. Time is running out dramatically. Two great guests. Tea, FOMO, juicing, fitness, well-being, health, business.
What a show. What a show. And loving it, as always, mate. I love just having conversations with great people. Surround yourself with people that, think, broadly and are like-minded. So, lessons learned today, mate. Listen, engage, and share more. Go first. Be the goalkeeper of your own business and do your utmost to try and keep it simple. It's great. Great lessons today.